Alright, so welcome to the start of yet another thing I'm doing. Reading these bad creepypastas from yesteryear. This is an idea I had floating around earlier today, so fuck it, might as well go ahead and talk about another thing I'm very interested in is creepypastas. Not because they're good, because they're a thing that are interesting to talk about. They've been covered to death, but whatever. I'm gonna throw my hat in the ring. Uh, what was it, like 11 years ago? I think this story. I heard the story, but this is Dead Bart. I chose this one because this is one I'm familiar with. The story is not too long. Uh, yeah, it's not too long. Is this a bad creepypasta? I actually don't remember. I'm gonna see if it holds up. That's a new series. I'm gonna see if all these creepypastas I used to read back in the day hold up. This one creeped me out a little bit when I was 14 or 13, whatever. Because the image of Homer Simpson, I forget which episode this is, but let's just go ahead and get into the story because the video is probably gonna be like 30 minutes. But this is Dead Bart. Okay, you know how Fox has a weird way of counting Simpsons episodes? No, did not know that. They refuse to count a couple of them, making the amount of episodes inconsistent. The reason for this is that this is a lost episode from season one. This is season one episode? I remember it being like a later, like a season five or something like that. But okay, finding details about this missing episode is difficult. No one who was working on the show at the time likes to talk about it. From what they have pieced together, the episode's production number is 7G06. Title was Dead Bart. Ooh. So I think this is kind of a rip on the Squidward suicide creepypasta, which I don't know if I'm gonna talk about because that one's been covered to death. As opposed to this one, but I don't know what came first. But yeah, anyway, their episode labeled 2G06 Morning Lisa was made later, and given Dead Bart's production code to hide the late latter's existence, it also was written entirely by Matt Groening. Yeah, I doubt it. I doubt he had any idea that his show would spawn a goofy story like this. Probably does. I don't know. During the production of the first season, Matt started to act strangely. He was very quiet, seemed nervous and morbid. I don't think this one's gonna age or not age, stand the test of time to a grown man. I mean, if this was a 13-year-old will find anything stupid shit scary, but now as a grown man, I'm seeing the cracks in the storytelling. So he was quiet and nervous and morbid. How do you act morbid? Like, how's your body, like, language and how you act around the office seem morbid unless you're fucking taking in dead birds and, I don't know, smearing them on the wall? It's like, wow, he's acting morbid. That would be the correct use of that term. But mentioning it to anyone who was present around Matt at the time resulted in them getting very angry and forbidding you to ever mention it to Matt himself. Why would you be angry for mentioning an episode? Like, that's why you take anger management classes, not write a scary story about a dead Bart. But anyway, first heard of it at an event where David Silverman was speaking. Someone in the crowd asked about the episode. Silverman simply left the stage, for ending it early. And now you're just drawing attention to yourself. Why would you do that? Is Bart being dead something angry about? In addition to getting angry, asking anyone who was on the show about Dead Bart would cause them to do everything they could to stop you from directly communicating with Matt Groening at a fan event. I managed to follow him after he spoke to the crowd and eventually had a chance to talk to him alone. He was leaving the building. He didn't seem upset that I had followed him. He probably expected a typical encounter with an obsessed fan. When it was the last episode, though, all colors drained from his face and started trembling. He started trembling. Oh man, what could be in this episode? When I asked him if he could see any details, he sounded like he was on the verge of tears. A grown man, he was probably in his 40s or 50s when this was written, is crying over his cartoon character who doesn't exist being dead. Okay, grab a piece of paper, wrote something on it, hand it to me. Never mention episode again. Piece of paper and a website address. Okay, so this part is so fucking stupid in these. It just was like an intern at Fox or whatever, and I had who found the a videotape and stole it and took it home, and then he wrote the story about it. I would understand it, but just some random fan because a website address from Matt Groening to the episode that's really dumb. I'd rather not what I right click. I would rather not say what it is for reasons you'll see in a second. Entered the address into my browser and came onto a site that was completely black, except for a line of yellow text. A link. Okay, I don't know why you have that dash here. Clicked on it and the file started downloading. Okay, clicking a link to something doesn't automatically download it unless it says download. So, this is a shitty website that hosts the dead bar. Ooh. System restored didn't work. The entire computer had to be rebooted before doing this. Kept the file to my CD. I tried to open it on my own, an empty computer, as I suspected there was an episode of Simpsons on it. Oh, here comes the spoops. The episode started off like any other. Had very poor quality animation. If you've seen the original animation for some enchanted evening, it was similar but less stable. The first act was fairly normal, but the way the characters acted was a little off. It's always in these creepypastas, these lost episode ones. The characters are a little strange, a little off. They always say a little off. I mean, this is sorry, stuff you know. This is a template for all these bad lost episodes of cartoons or TV shows. Creepypastas. They're all copy and pasted from this. Ironically, being a copy pasta. But anyway, first act was fairly a little off. Homer was angrier. Ooh, Marge seemed depressed. Lisa behaved anxiously, and Bart appeared to have genuine anger and hatred towards his parents. Episodes about the Simpsons going on a plane trip. And then he ended the first act of the plane. I guess nothing interesting happened at all in the first couple minutes of the episode before they went on the plane, I guess. The plane was taking off. Bart was fooling around. Expected, however, the plane was about 50 feet off the ground. However, as the plane was about 50 feet off the ground, Bart broke a window and was sucked out. Yeah, I remember this. Got sucked out of a window at the beginning of the series. Matt had an idea that the animated style of Simpsons world represented life, and that death made things more realistic, hence why it was used in the episode. I could attest to that. He didn't really reflect life as a child being sucked out of a airplane. That wasn't the original idea for The Simpsons. If you don't know, or if you don't even know anything about Simpsons, the early show was like a representation of modern America, but it was a caricature. The Simpsons are like an everyday family living in anywhere USA, Springfield, and yeah, so it does have ties to real life. There is death. The hell's going on outside? Okay, well, there are people currently yelling outside my window. Let's progress. Yeah, obviously it represents life, but I don't think he was intentionally to make some fucking episode where Bart gets sucked out of a plane and really dies, which is what happened in a moment. So let's continue. Hence why it was used in the episode. The picture of Bart's corpse was barely recognizable. It took full advantage of it not having to move. Made an almost photorealistic drawing of his dead body. A photorealistic of what? Bart doesn't exist. You get like a very detailed drawing of a dead body of his character, but it wouldn't be photorealistic. or whatever. Yeah, and also another cliche: the photorealistic or hyper-realistic blood or whatever is a very common trope with bad creepypastas and old ones. All these are not good like anything else. What's happening outside? All right, whatever. Back to this. Act one ended with a shot of Bart's corpse. When Act two started, Homer, Marge, and Lisa were sitting at the table crying. Crying went on and on. It became more pained and realistic. Okay. Better acting than you would think possible. The animation started to decay even more as they cried. You could hear murmuring in the background. The characters could barely be made out. They were stretching and blurring, looking like deformed shadows, random bright colors thrown out on them. I guess it's like a deep fried image they usually do. Like a very distorted, deep fried, corrosive texture to videos. Some video recording software does. I think that's what they were trying to go for, but that's not that's not very scary. Reminds me of those low quality shit posts on Instagram, but whatever. There were faces in the windows, flashing in and out, so that they were never sure what they looked like. Ooh, okay. Crying went on for all of Act Two. So Act Two was just them crying. Did you really sit through all that? I mean, it is creepy having faces. In general, faces flashing in the windows or flashing every once in a while is creepy, but it doesn't make any sense. Like, whatever. It all sounds very fake. But I probably wasn't even supposed to sound like a real thing anyway. It's just a story. But let's continue. The crime went on for Act 2. Act 3 opened with title cards saying 1 year had passed. Homer, Marge, and Lisa were skeletally thin, still sitting at the table. There was no sign of Maggie or the pets. They decided to visit Bart's grave. Springfield was completely deserted, and as they walked to the cemetery, the houses became more and more decrepit. They all looked abandoned. When they got to the grave, Bart's body was laying in front of his tombstone, looking just like it did at the end of Act 1. Okay, I don't understand. Like, it's supposed to be aspects of life. Like, no one just has a dead body outside of a tombstone in real life, unless it's like, you know, people at this who work for a cemetery do not do that. Okay, obviously, I shouldn't have to explain that. If there was a dead body in front of a tombstone, it would be coffin thieves stealing from the grave, and they just leave the dead body out, or someone died on there, or was a dead body put there, and the cops will show up, and take care of the situation. Obviously, this is not it's not real life. Right here, it's not a real representation of art. It's just some edgy shit. Pam started crying again. And she stopped and just looked and just stared at Bart's body. Cameras on Homer's face. According to summaries, Homer tells a joke at this part, but it wasn't audible in the version I saw. Very true to life. Telling a joke at his dead son. Until he's saying, the view zoomed out. The view zoomed out as the episode came to a close. Tombstones in the background had names. This is the scary part that got me when I was a wee lad. Every Simpsons guest star on them. Some no one had heard of in 1989 haven't been on the show yet. All of them had death dates as well. 4 guests who died since, like Michael Jackson, George Harrison. The dates were when they would die. The credits were completely silent and seemed handwritten. Ooh. So, Michael Jackson, George Harrison's real date of death was on the tombstones. Ooh, they predicted their deaths. The final image of the episode was a Simpsons family on their couch, like an intro, but all drawn in hyper realistic. There it is, realistic lifeless style of Bart's corpse. So I guess on the couch, I guess they died. A thought occurred to me after seeing the episode for the first time. You could try to use the tombstones or predict the deaths of living Simpsons guest stars. There's something odd about most of them that haven't died yet. All of their deaths are listed as the same day. Ooh. Wait, what? wait, what does that mean? All their deaths are listed as the same, as the same. All their deaths are the same date. There's something odd about most of the ones who haven't died yet. Okay, so all of the guests. I'm trying to understand. So all the guest appearances on The Simpsons that have not died yet, that are currently alive, I guess, was 2000. Oh, 2010. Okay, this was when it was released. So all them that were still alive in 2010 all died the exact same date sometime in the future. Okay. Uh, that's Dead Bart. Uh, very short, sweet, very generic, very simple. It's very dumb. It's dumb, and it might be the first of its kind, August 2010. Because I'm pretty sure after this, every single Lost episode thing copies this exact same formula. So in ways, it's a trendsetter. You know what I mean? So I'll congratulate on being the first of its kind, kinda. But I'll also condemn it for having every single cliche that it's not its fault for having, but every other creepypasta will copy. So there you go. That's Dead Bart. Have a good rest of your evening. Yeah, that's it.